Welcome back, everyone, to the program. Now let's bring you some of our stories in brief. We begin in Adamawa State, where Adamawa People's Democratic Party on elections, they have faulted INEC's position in declaring Adamawa governorship election as inconclusive, saying the number of collected PVCs in the 44 polling units in question is less than the margin of lead, which makes the conduct of the rerun inconsequential. The party is demanding that INEC rescinds its decision to declare the Adamawa governorship election as inconclusive and announce its candidate, Umaru Fintiri, as a lawful winner of the elections. Elsewhere, the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State, they've called for the arrest of Senator Godswill Akpabio and the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Simekere for allegedly sponsoring and personally supervising numerous electoral offences in the course of the just concluded general elections. The party was reacting to the accusation made of theft levelled against it by the All Progressives Congress and its stakeholders. Well, let's now get the views of the electoral umpire on a lot of issues raised on the elections. Joining us from Abuja studios, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi, Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman. A pleasure to have you on the program. So let's get straight to it. We now have a date for the supplementary elections, but we also have lots of issues that have been thrown up. Let's find out from you about Rivers suspended. Well, we know the fact-finding mission is over. What about the Rivers State election? What's the latest from that fact-finding mission?
Thank you very much, Millicent. We set out to conduct a good election with all hopes high in Rivers State, and we started very well. We deployed staff, we deployed the equipment and the materials. But as the election progressed, we started hearing reports of violence, of abduction, and interference with our process. And it got to a stage where the safety of our staff and even the voters could no longer be
Mr. Yekami, just because of time, we know all of this information, but we want to know what the fact-finding mission has found out and the next step.
Well, the fact-finding mission is yet to submit its report. Remember, on the 10th, we asked the committee to go to Port Harcourt, and we give them 48 hours. The 48 hours expired yesterday, and we expect that by today we'll have a report. So we don't have a report yet. Remember, when they submit the report, the commission will quickly consider the report and then announce a decision.
Tell us about, I'm sure you've heard INEC is also meeting with election observers, and a lot of them have thrown up how security agents prevented them from monitoring the elections and so many other issues.
Yes, it's a mixed bag, really. On one stretch, you have commendations. On the other, you have complaints. I think that we can't have a perfect election, really. You don't expect that there won't be some challenges. But I think that the lessons learned are very, very important. INEC takes the inputs of observers very seriously. In fact, some of the things we incorporated into our guidelines were derived from what the observers offered us in 2015. So it's a mixed bag, really, and we're going to pay attention to all the issues raised today.
All right, we'd like to thank you so much, Chief Press Secretary to your INEC Chairman, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi, for joining us on the program. Well, the National Assembly is expected to resume debate on the 2019 budget today after the lawmakers reconvened yesterday but could not do any major lawmaking activity due to the death of one of their own from Oyo State. As the lawmakers resume sitting today, one thing that may have suffered huge delay is the 2019 budget, which has been abandoned due to the elections. Now, the House of Representatives passed the budget through second reading before the elections, but the Senate chose not to debate the budget until after the elections. Let's take a look at the timeline of the 8.83 trillion 2019 budget, 8.83 trillion naira. First on Wednesday, 19th of December 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari presented the draft of the 2019 budget to a joint session of the National Assembly amidst a lot of drama on the floor of the hallowed chamber. On the 29th of January 2019, the appropriation bill passed second reading at the House of Representatives. And as the National Assembly resumes plenary, the bill is expected to be considered today, 13th of March. And to begin debate on that budget. Well, what do we know about what's happening? Let's get the latest on the floor from our correspondent in Abuja, Linda Kibe. She joins us to fill us in on the latest. Linda?
I'm here in the National Assembly where legislative proceedings in the Senate and the House of Representatives has just started. Now, in the House of Representatives, we expect that the entire plenary session will be devoted for a valedictory session in honor of the late lawmaker, Representative Temitope Olatoye, who was killed during the governorship election in Ibadan, Oyo State. So the entire plenary session in the House of Representatives will be just for the valedictory session in his honor. But in the Senate would not be joining the House of Representatives in the valedictory session. The Senate, however, adjourned plenary yesterday, both houses, in honor of the late Representative Temitope Olatoye. We expect that today in the Senate that lawmakers will begin consideration of the 2019 budget, and the debate is expected to begin today, and most likely the Senate would pass the 2019 budget through the crucial second reading. Senate President Bukola Saraki on Tuesday gave a hint that lawmakers would begin budget debate today. And so we'll bring you more details as events unfold in the National Assembly. From the National Assembly, Linda Kibe, Channels Television News.
In Taraba State, the government relaxed the 24-hour curfew imposed by the state governor, Darius Ishaku, on Jalingo, the state capital, after the election of last Saturday and the incidents which followed. The government in a press release says the curfew will now run from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. daily, as the government says it is monitoring the security situation. Well, still on security, we have joining us from Abuja studios a retired police assistant, Inspector General of Police, Mr. Uzo Amakolo. He joins us from our Abuja studio looking at the security situations, implications for our elections. Thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but we don't have so much time. But what's your assessment of the elections that took place? Mr. Makolo, if you can hear me, what's your assessment of security agents at the last just concluded elections?
Yeah, in my assessment, I'm not quite impressed, but we just have to get on. I wish it were better.
What do you think they did wrong?
The idea of violence continues to come up. And one would have thought we should have improved on this. Violence shouldn't be part of an electoral process.
So when we
it's only when there is a dispute or things are not properly done that you begin to have violence, you begin to have problems cropping up.
In the case of River State,
one would have thought we should have been over this.
Mr. Makulo, in the case of River State, what's your take moving forward?
Come again, in the case of what?
River State.
Well, there was a premeditated setup. A premeditated setup that there will be violence. And I don't know why they did not checkmate it. But there was that muzzle flexing that you have to come out and fight it out. And that is why we have that type of ugly situation.
We'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Uzo Makolo. Wish we had more time to talk to you, but we know that we will be talking to you in the nearest future as we wrap up on Lunchtime Politics at this time. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a great day.